Stay tuned for ESPN's coverage of the Vitaly Klitschko Shannon Briggs heavyweight title fight from O2 Arena in Hamburg, Germany.
Well, Hamburg, Germany, the center of the boxing universe from the O2 World Arena here in the Western Quarter. We are proud to present an ESPN boxing special as Vitaly Klitschko, Ring Magazine's #1 ranked heavyweight in the world, takes on the last American to hold a heavyweight belt, Shannon the Cannon Briggs. With that, it's great to have you with us as always. John Anik alongside our ESPN boxing analyst BJ Flores. And let's get right into it. We take a look at the tail of the tape, and a lot of similarities when it comes to the age and the weight and the record, but I think the similarities, BJ, stop there. These are two fighters really on completely different levels.
Yeah, I think so, John. I mean, if we look at them on paper, they look to be about the same size, both enormous heavyweights for nowadays. But the comparisons do stop there. Klitschko has been dominating the scene for the last 4 years. Shannon Briggs is kind of trying to resurrect his career at this moment, and he's got a very big task in front of him.
Yeah, the last quality win for Shannon Briggs came against Sergey Lahovich back in 2006. Sort of a lackluster fight that he eventually was able to win by 12th round TKO. But this is his first fight in Europe, and what a step up in competition compared to who he's faced recently. He faces the #1 ranked Ring Magazine heavyweight, Vitaly Klitschko, and this is the Klitschko's world right now as far as the heavyweight division goes. Everyone else really just living it. Man, they really do it up here in Germany for these ring entrances. Now, BJ, the big question for the weigh-in on Friday was what weight would Shannon Briggs tip the scales at? We heard from his promoter, Greg Cohen, telling ESPN that Briggs was in great shape, would come in around 240 pounds. Instead, he tips the scales at 263. What did you make of that?
There's not a lot to make of it. I think Shannon Briggs always talks before the fight what he's going to come in at, and this is one fight where we're actually expecting Shannon to do what he says and see if he can do what he says at least. So to hear he's coming in at 240 and then for him to come in at 260, 263, I'm not terribly surprised, but the weight doesn't necessarily dictate what type of shape he is in, so we will see very early on. You know, his body looks to be in tremendous form. He looks to be in good shape, so maybe it's solid weight. We will see.
A notoriously fast starter, but not somebody, as you see there on the graphic, who likes to go the distance. Just 16 rounds since he, came back from a brief retirement there in June of 2007. Now, you spent some time in Las Vegas, and you did catch up with one of his trainers, Eddie Mustafa Muhammad, and he really likes Briggs in this spot, contrary to the public opinion. All right, well, now we go bio-blast on Vitaly Klitschko, of course, the older brother of Vladimir Klitschko, and has some political aspirations as well. Did a lot of that when he was retired, and gotta love the nickname Dr. Iron Fist for Vitaly Klitschko, now making his 6th appearance in the last 24 months. All right, so with that backdrop, BJ, how does Briggs go about pulling off an upset that would really turn the boxing world on its axis?
I think Briggs is going to come out very, very aggressive in these first 3 rounds. He's got to. This fight goes too long. Vitaly is too talented, too polished. Briggs has always started the fights early, so I look for him to come out very, very hard this first round and make it a very exciting round, very exciting fight right from the beginning.
And as you mentioned before we hit the air here, Vitaly not necessarily a slow starter either, so he's got to be careful and mindful of that as well out of the chute.
He does. Klitschko's got big power early. He always has big power throughout the fights, but Briggs is very dangerous early in the fight. He's very athletic, very fluid, so I look for him to start the fight very early.
All right, we are ready. 12 rounds here to decide the WBC heavyweight title. Vitaly Klitschko, a huge favorite, and trying to hold serve in front of the home fans here in Germany. Big right hand early from Klitschko, and already has Briggs backing up a little bit.
Definitely got his attention with that right hand.
It's one thing to be 6'7", but Vitaly really just a master at using that size.
He does. He does it so effectively and so well. Keeps that left hand down low, so it looks like he's in range to be hit, but Vitaly is a master at spacing. Very, very effective in his spacing and being able to land while his opponent can't land.
You mentioned the lack of quality opposition for Briggs of late, but a more patient Shannon Briggs than we've seen here early on, and I think that's a byproduct of the opponent.
Yeah, I think he's a little maybe gun-shy, if you would, but I definitely expected Shannon to come out a little more aggressive here, but I think he's probably just trying to feel Vitaly out and see what he does and measure that attack and take it from there.
Klitschko likes to settle in, get behind that jab, and really one of the best jabs we've seen in the heavyweight division, and a great weapon for Vitaly that he uses really to maximum effectiveness.
It really does. Shannon's got to be very careful having that left hand down. Vitaly's already landed a good right hand, and the way he's positioning his feet, he's sliding in, he's kind of moving over to the right. He's looking to set up that right hand, so Shannon's got to be careful not to get hit with that big punch.
And these guys really don't like each other, too. I mean, we know Shannon Briggs, a knockout artist. Vitaly Klitschko, the best knockout percentage in boxing's heavyweight history. He wants to get the knockout here, increase his U.S. profile, and that'll help. A big right hand there.
A big right hand. He's got to be careful of that punch. If he doesn't adjust, that punch could end the fight. Klitschko's right hand is very dangerous and very hard.
Yeah, you see already a little bit of swelling there from Shannon Briggs, and Shannon a little flat-footed here early, too.
He is. Expecting him to be more aggressive, more balancing, more coming forward, but Klitschko's gotten his attention early with those right hands, and Briggs is good right where he's at.
And when Vitaly gets in his comfort zone, look out. Just a very dangerous fighter, and we talked there, a big right hand there from Vitaly. You know, we talk so much about the knockouts, but he really wears you down and almost beats you into submission.
He does. He does that with the bigger guys, Samuel Peters, Shannon Briggs type guys. He's definitely got the one-punch knockout power, but with these bigger guys, he is tactical. He's not a reckless fighter. He's very smart. He's very intelligent.
So Briggs having a hard time getting inside, and Klitschko just snaps off that jab as soon as Briggs comes in.
Good round for Vitaly Klitschko.
That's what patient first round goes to Vitaly.
Mit der rechten schon gut hin, immer wieder die Spannung halten und den rechten Fuß aufpassen, dass er nicht nach hinten steht, dass er vorne steht. Und immer wieder Spannung halten, vorne sein, und kommt die rechte Blitz schnell.
Expected it to be much more explosive from Shannon, and you know, Klitschko did get some good right hands, and there you see it right here. Great right hand, definitely got Shannon's attention. Landed 3 or 4 of those good punches in that round, and Shannon can't take too many of those, John.
I think we all wonder about the stamina, the cardio for Shannon Briggs if this thing does get into deeper waters, and certainly not the start that Shannon Briggs was looking for through 3 minutes.
Stamina is not going to be a question if he keeps taking those right hands.
See there, the longtime trainer Fritz Stunek in Vitaly's corner, and really just a picture of composure. No surprise here early on out of the Klitschko. All right, getting ready for round 2 here. WBC heavyweight title fight between the title holder Vitaly Klitschko and the challenger Shannon Briggs. You know, something maybe for Shannon Briggs, one big payday here, making about $500,000, but he's really hoping to make a big statement here and get a signature win here on the tail end of his career.
Yeah, he is, and in order to do that, John, he's got to get his jab going. Shannon was far too tentative in the first round. You see there, he only threw 23 punches. He's got to be aggressive. He's got to set up his jab and let things come off the jab. He took some good right hands in that first round, and he can't continue to take those.
And again, Vitaly, when he throws, he seems to land really at will. High landing percentage in the first round. That continues here early on in round 2.
It does, although Shannon did come out in the second round and start to jab a little more than he did in the first.
Yeah.
Mixed in a couple jabs to the body. If he can mix that punch up, that could be very effective for him down the stretch.
A double jab there from Vitaly, and different strategically than we've seen from Shannon Briggs of late, but running into that jab and backing up against the ropes.
He kind of turned his head to the side, and Vitaly just kind of turned a hook over on it. Caught him flush. Wasn't the hardest punch, but just showing that he is seeing what Shannon's doing and reading everything effectively.
And the process for Vitaly in wearing down the opponents begins early, and that's exactly what he's doing.
He's a menacing puncher. He's very heavy-handed, and good right hand again. Shannon's got to pick that left hand up.
You see Vitaly getting wide-eyed here early on as we hit the midpoint in round number 2. Seems to sense that he already has Briggs' number. Everything working off of that jab for the title holder, Vitaly Klitschko.
Yeah, he's found that range. And like, it's an old boxing adage. When you get that jab working early, everything comes off it. Vitaly's found the range for us right, and there it is again, 2 times. Heavy, heavy punches.
Yeah, and you already see the swelling there on the left side of Shannon Briggs' face, and just a huge speed discrepancy here early on, it would seem.
Good body shot. Good. Briggs has got to let his hands go like that if he wants to have any chance in this, even staying in this fight more rounds. He's got to start to let his hands go.
And again, Vitaly looking to land that big overhand right, but getting in and out pretty nicely.
As in Briggs' defense, he's taking the right hands fairly well. My concern for Briggs is that he can't continue to take those punches through as the rounds continue to pile up. But he has taken Vitaly's punches rather well up to this point. Shannon's always had a good chin.
Again, backing up as Vitaly presses forward, and for Shannon Briggs, not doing a whole lot of head hunting. It's, you know, it's hard. It's at a decided reach disadvantage.
Yeah, he is. Not only does Klitschko have a huge size advantage, but his spacing and his range is excellent. He gets in and out, makes it very hard for his opponents to land punches.
Nice right hand there from Vitaly Klitschko. So about the way we drew it up through 2 rounds as Vitaly Klitschko dominating Shannon Briggs early. So BJ, through 6 minutes, fairly easy to score, I guess, to this point.
Yeah, I got 2 rounds, 10-9 for Vitaly Klitschko, 2018. He's really controlling the fight. He's landing the harder punches, the bigger punches, controlling the pace. Shannon has got to find a way to disrupt Vitaly's jab and his right hand. Not working out so far.
Shannon Briggs, a longtime sufferer of asthma, and you know, something that perhaps he plays up the condition, but he's got to get going here soon.
He does, and really, John, asthma hasn't really come into play so far to this, to this point in the fight. He's got to figure out a way to disrupt Vitaly's straight punches, the jab, the right hand. Even the hook started to land in that last round. I mean, everything's working for him, like you said.
And as you saw there on the replay, those shots on the air, you know, upset the equilibrium, and those can begin to take their toll.
That jab is working fine.
John Anik, BJ Flores back at the O2 World Arena here in Germany, the ESPN boxing special. Vitaly Klitschko and Shannon Briggs, and all Klitschko here through 2 rounds as we get ready for round number 3. Just a nice confidence from Vitaly, as we've seen really ever since he came back from the 4-year layoff in 2008. Always in control, and snaps off the left hand there. Briggs goes to the body, but nothing doing.
Now, Briggs actually started this 3rd round again like the 2nd round, a little similar to that, trying to be a little more active from the start. Mixed in a couple jabs to the body, came in with the lead hook. He's trying to assert himself offensively a little more right now.
Nice right hand there from Vitaly Klitschko, and it was a mismatch on paper, and that's the way it's played out here in the early portions of round number 3. Shannon Briggs looking for answers. I mean, maybe you like the patience a little bit, but just not having a whole lot of success, and maybe his best punch of the fight there as a counter.
Kind of a cuffing left hook he just landed there. You know, he's taken Klitschko's punches rather well. I mean, normally when guys get hit by Vitaly, they don't react the way Shannon's reacting. He's standing his ground, he's planting his feet. You don't like to see him get hit with those big right hands. Look at him bouncing a little bit right there. Maybe Shannon's gaining a bit of confidence here, realizing he can take some of those big punches from Klitschko.
Gaining some confidence, also gaining some redness there on the faces as Vitaly just continues to pepper away with that powerful jab.
Shannon, another big right hand. Shannon has got to start working his jab. Another big right hand. Got to start trying to get something together offensively to disrupt Vitaly's offense.
Yeah, that body shot's not going to get a whole lot done there for Shannon Briggs. In between rounds, we will bring in our ESPN.com boxing writer Dan Rayfield. If indeed Klitschko does hold serve here as the favorite tonight, what might be next for Vitaly? First order of business, though, taking out Shannon Briggs, and so far so good.
Yeah, he's looking really good up to this point, John. Shannon dug in a nice body shot there. Klitschko's been controlling the pace, the spacing, been landing the harder punches. Although I do see Shannon gaining a little bit of confidence. He's let his hands go a little better in this round, and maybe he's starting to get into the fight. So maybe he's surprising all of us with, not such an early start. Maybe he plans on coming on in these middle rounds.
Yeah, and the chin is held up at least to this point in the fight, just for Shannon Briggs, unable to land really anything appreciable up top. The body shots are nice, but the accumulation really just not there for Shannon Briggs as he comes in with a left hand.
He's really having troubles finding that range without establishing the distance with the jab. You can't jump in on a 6'7" guy and expect to land the leaping left hooks. You gotta touch him with the jab or touch him with the right hand first. And that's what Shannon's trying to do now.
see Klitschko, just great head movement, great upper body movement. The big right hand there for Klitschko.
Good right hand.
3 rounds are done. It is all Klitschko. And now joining us on the phone, our ESPN.com boxing writer, Dan Rayfield. Dan, it's good to talk to you as always. So Vitaly Klitschko in control of the fight here through 9 minutes. If indeed Vitaly gets it done here against Shannon Briggs, what is the forecast for a possible next opponent?
Hey, John, I think his handlers they could probably start planning his next fight during this one because I'm not sure it's going to go much longer. But on the books right now, they're talking about, not done, of course, is Vitaly coming back perhaps in the first quarter of next year to defend the title against Tomas Adamek, possibly coming to the United States to do that. You know, Klitschko, of course, would have to win this fight today. And, of course, Adamek has a fight coming up in November against Vinny Matalone. And, of course, further in the future, if he could get by that, he's going to have a mandatory defense to make against the winner of the Adlanier Solis-Ray Austin fight, which is tentatively scheduled for December 17th in Miami.
And as far as Shannon Briggs goes, Dan, some people don't even consider him a top 25 or 30 heavyweight in the world. Your assessment of his performance to this point?
Well, I'm kind of surprised that he didn't come out and try to leave it all hanging out there in the first couple of rounds, because his big thing has always been running out of gas, and that when he has his best chance to win is early in the fight when he's got that energy and maybe he can land the big punch. If he somehow manages to win this fight tonight, he's going to wind up having to fight Vitaly again because they do have a rematch clause in the contract in favor of Klitschko.
Okay, so you heard it there from our ESPN.com boxing writer Dan Rayfield, a mandatory rematch clause in there, so if Shannon Briggs does win, he's going to have to face the 6'7" Ukrainian once again, and he's got some work to do, BJ, to make that happen here. Down 3 rounds.
He really does, but he came out at the beginning of this 4th round again, dug a couple nice right hands to the body, came out with a big right hand at the beginning of this round. You know, I like how Shannon is acting right now as the rounds kind of progress. The first round, he kind of got, manhandled a little bit. The second round as well. The third and the fourth, he kind of started to pick it up a little more. He's got to stop Vitaly's right hand, though, otherwise it's not going to go too long. But his punches do look nice. He's starting to look like he's getting a little more comfortable.
And we saw there on your scorecard, pretty easy there, yeah. 3 rounds to none for Vitaly.
3 rounds to none, 30-27.
And again, it just looks as though Klitschko's in the zone, not taking too many chances, just setting everything up off of that jab and able to land the right hand really most of the time that he throws it.
He's got a very high connect percentage with that right hand. He's landing it very consistently. Shannon's digging in there in the body. got Vitaly's attention a little bit there. You see the eyes open up a little wider right there. Those are hard shots from a 263-pound man. Yeah,
one thing that we can guarantee is that Shannon Briggs does pack the power. The question is, can he find the target enough to stun or damage Vitaly? Big right hand there for Klitschko.
Big right hands. And one thing Vitaly's doing, whenever he lands the right hand once, he's shooting it again.
Yep.
He is not waiting to reset it back up. He's landing one right hand, and he's immediately shooting another one and having a very high connect percentage with both of them.
Tremendous volume puncher, especially for a heavyweight. You see there on the jabs, and really the way, a lot of people expected it to go down. 103 thrown at Vitaly, and they just keep coming. Single, double, triple, they just keep coming.
And Vitaly really uses that jab as more of a measuring stick for his right hand, but he also uses it as a rangefinder. He'll throw that thing out there. He's very tall. It kind of blinds his opponent, and he lands that right hand almost every time. Those punches go together, that jab and that right hand, and Vitaly's mastered it.
And Briggs, sort of plodding forward a little bit. Not a great sense of urgency, though, from Shannon.
No, but one thing that I like about Shannon, he's still moving his upper body a little bit. He is digging when he gets inside with that right hook. We just saw it in the body right there. But he's not a stationary target. And when Vitaly is connecting with the punches, he's taking them rather well, I got to be honest. Better than I thought he would.
Yeah, he's absorbed a lot of right hands there to the left side of his face. A couple right on the ear, a little behind the ear, and is still standing and coming forward when there's an opportunity.
There have not been many heavyweights that have taken as many Klitschko right hands as Briggs has and still been, standing and in the condition that Shannon's in right now.
Another big right hand there for Vitaly Klitschko as we wind down round number 4 from Hamburg, Germany. It is all Vitaly Klitschko early in his title defense against Shannon Briggs.
ABC.
Back at the O2 World Arena, Vitaly Klitschko against Shannon Briggs. A monster opportunity here for Shannon Briggs tonight. And even though I think there's been, some things that you can hang your hat on so far it's been all Vitaly Klitschko.
Yeah, it has. Klitschko's really controlled everything in the fight so far. One thing that I like at the beginning of this 5th round here, Shannon was off his stool with about 10 seconds to go, so maybe the asthma hasn't kicked in just yet. I mean, he has come on a little bit in the last 2 rounds. Good right hand by Briggs, and he's looking to make this a fight.
Yeah, the reports were that even though Shannon Briggs maybe didn't weigh in the 240s that would have been desired, that he was really in tremendous shape, and at least so far, the cardio is holding up.
Yeah, I was completely wrong. I thought Shannon would come out and start the fight aggressively like he has done in the past, but it looks like he's taking a more tactical approach and really going to try to, make this a real fight down the stretch.
Now, do you think Klitschko respects Briggs' power? I mean, he'd have to. He just doesn't seem, as though he feels like he's been in harm's way whatsoever.
Yeah, I think he does, definitely. I think he definitely respects his power. He knows Briggs is a big man and, obviously hits very hard. Landed a couple of those already, so Klitschko is not just running in to connect on Briggs, but he is having his way with him. Klitschko's one of those special fighters that can land from range. He doesn't have to get too close to be able to land his power punches, so he does have that luxury.
And you see that even can be flat-footed and connect with the jab. Nothing like being 6'7".
Shannon's still got that nice loose upper body movement, which is nice to see in a heavyweight. That is disrupting Vitaly a little teeny bit. Still able to do what he wants, but that upper body movement can be very difficult to mount any type of offense. Good right hand by Shannon. Didn't land, but at least he had tried. Vitaly right back with the counter.
Yeah, nice combination there from Vitaly, and smells a little blood in the water here. We'll see if Vitaly turns up the offense here as we hit the midpoint of round number 5. Nice left hand there, follows it up with a right and barely misses on the left there. And Briggs a little nod there. Yeah, you got me with that one.
I think Briggs is also acknowledging that he hit Klitschko a little low with a shot, a little left hook to the body there, and Klitschko looked at him and said, hey, and Briggs said, yeah, it was a little low. Ooh, good right hand.
Right hand, yeah. Perhaps one of the better snapping punches we've seen thus far.
Very solid shot from Klitschko. Normally what fighters try to do when they keep their left hand low like Briggs is doing, when Klitschko shoots the right hand, they normally try to roll a la James Toney.
Yeah.
They try to roll with that punch to take some of the impact off it, but Briggs is not having luck rolling with that punch. If you're not going to roll with it, you got to pick the left hand up, John, because Klitschko punches too hard.
Yeah, and you see, again, that swelling continuing for Shannon Briggs. He comes forward there, but again, eating a couple punches.
He did, and he lunged in with the right hand lead, and it did connect a little bit, but you got to set that up with a jab. Good right hand from Klitschko.
And again, when Briggs turns up the offense, that's when Vitaly comes forward and punishes him for doing so.
Shannon has got to get that jab working. Got to pick that left hand up.
All right, just what Dr. Iron Fist ordered through 5 rounds here in Hamburg. 212,000 people combined turning out to see the last 4 Klitschko brothers fights here in Germany. Another packed house here tonight, and they're getting what they paid to see. Pretty exciting fight through 5.
Yeah, it's been really great. Klitschko always gives his fans their money worth. Landed some big punches. He's fighting a very big opponent. And in Briggs' defense, he's taking the punch as well, but the fans are definitely getting their money's worth here. And, they're seeing a pretty good fight. Shannon is definitely going in there and swinging. He's not here for a payday. He came to actually try to win this fight. And easier said than done. It's a lot more difficult when you get in that ring than it appears to be from the outside.
And sometimes Vitaly's power can be deceiving. They don't look like the most powerful shots in the world, but the cumulative effect, as Albert Sosnowski can attest from his loss back in May in Germany, Vitaly really wears you down.
He does. A lot of leverage on those punches, John. A lot of leverage.
Wenn gearbeitet hat, möchte Pause, dann bist du da. Du gibst ihm keine Pause.
The ESPN Boxing Special continues here in Hamburg, Germany. Mike Side, BJ Flores, I'm John Anik. And what is the message at this point as we get close to the midpoint of the fight from the Shannon Briggs corner? What does he need to do to try somehow to turn the tide?
I think he's got to find a way to offset Vitaly's right hand, which Shannon can actually move to his right to kind of not directly move into Vitaly's right hand, or he's got to pick his left hand up. At the same time, offensively, he's got to mount something off of his jab, attack the body, then come up, because he's having troubles finding Vitaly's head with the one single punch.
And of course, all of that easier said than done against a guy who's 6'7" tall and a guy who, quite frankly, is more skilled.
Yeah, he is. He's got to use that jab like that. See, Shannon's kind of trying to change levels right there with the jab. Up, then down, and look to land the right hand up. That's how he's got to start the offense.
And we remind you, another ESPN boxing special comes your way November 8th, 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2 as we kick off the salute to the veterans from the River Marine Air Station in Jacksonville, North Carolina. The main event, John Molina and Raimundo Beltran, 12 rounds in the lightweight division.
Good action here in this round. Klitschko came out shooting right hands and hooks. Shannon was actually rolling with some of them a little better, but Klitschko still connecting very clean.
Haven't been a whole lot of clinches there in the fight, and you see one and they separate, and Vitaly's starting to get going here in round number 6, and you'd like to see some sense of urgency, BJ, at some point here from Shannon Briggs, knowing he's got to be down on the scorecards.
Yeah, I think we see a little bit. I think Shannon's trying to move forward. He's trying to move his upper body and set up the offense. He's just, John, really having troubles finding his range. He can't hit Klitschko with that one single punch. He's got to use the jab to set those punches up. Good right hand from Klitschko, nice and short. But Shannon is starting to back up the big man here, and that's something we don't see very often in Klitschko fights.
And Briggs is hanging around. You know, we know anything can happen in boxing, and maybe you tire Vitaly a little bit. Not that
big heavy right hand.
Nice left. You just don't know where he's coming, and snaps one off on the inside as well.
Yeah, that's something he's really added into his game, that lead left hook. He used to never have that punch. Good right hand again from Klitschko. Briggs is taking him unbelievably well. This guy's got a great chin.
And you see the talent from Klitschko, too. He lands the big right hand and then snaps off a left on his way back out.
Very, very good. Very talented. And like I said, if Shannon's going to have that left hand down, he's got to roll with the punch. He's got to do something, shoulder block, to be able to offset that right hand of Vitaly.
See that left eye starting to shut a little bit for Shannon Briggs as Klitschko turns up the offense here in round number 6, and Briggs is backing up.
Yep, you see the mouth starting to develop under the left eye of Briggs as well. The swelling, another big right hand. You cannot take those all night.
Yeah, you just wonder how many more Shannon Briggs can take, and perhaps not unlike the fight against Sam Peter, maybe at some point you just throw in the towel.
Yeah, actually, Shannon is actually mounting more offense than Sam Peter was actually doing. So another big right hand. Shannon's taking those unbelievably well, but he's got to figure out a way to offset those so he can get into this fight. Klitschko totally dominating.
Yeah, big finish here for Vitaly Klitschko in round number 6 as we hit the midpoint of this WBC heavyweight title fight. Well, a judge's job in boxing, not always easy, but BJ Flores, pretty easy here tonight for those sitting ringside.
Yeah, this fight has been very one-sided so far, been completely controlled by the jab and the right hand, and even the lead hook from Klitschko. A new punch he's kind of added into his arsenal. So Shannon is trying. He is trying to mount some offense. He's having a lot of trouble getting past those straight punches from Klitschko.
Yeah, and every time Briggs does come forward, it seems like he pays for it on the backside.
Paying a heavy, heavy price every time he tries to mount any type of offense.
Now, Vitaly Klitschko talked a lot about trying to get the finish here. As you look at the punches there through round number 6, of course, the numbers are going to be all Klitschko, but he really wants the finish here, wants to increase his U.S. profile. We might see Klitschko fight in the United States early in 2011, and he wants to get the knockout here tonight. John Anik, BJ Flores, as we continue with the ESPN heavyweight boxing special. We look at the replays from round 6.
Big right hands. Klitschko's continued to land those right hands from the very first round all the way into the 6th round. He's mixed in an unbelievable amount of power punches coming from that right side. Shannon has got to find a way to roll with the punch, pick up the left hand, move to his right, do something to offset that punch. It might be too late though, John.
We'll see if at some point here Shannon Briggs actually will go for broke and try to somehow finish Klitschko and perhaps risk getting finished in the process.
Right. Good jab to the body by Shannon. That's what he's got to do. He's got to change levels like that. Good jab again to the body. He's got to work up and down to be able to find Klitschko's head, because the one punch and the 2 punches is going to do it. Good right hand, right on the chin.
Again, it seems like a new round, same story as Vitaly Klitschko able to land that right hand at will.
Exactly. There's the one punch again from Briggs. He's got to set it up off the jab. Klitschko has learned how to evade those types of punches, and Briggs has found very little success with the one punch. Got to work up and down, change levels, work off the jab.
And as we go about a minute here in round 7, starting to look a little bit like a glorified sparring session. Klitschko really able to do whatever he wants to do.
He is. And see, a little subtle movement that Shannon Briggs is making right here. You can't really tell too much, but he's moving to his left into Klitschko's right hand. It's a very big no-no to do that when your left hand is down if you don't plan on rolling with a punch. Ideally, I would like to see Shannon moving to his right, away from Klitschko's right hand, instead of right into the, the direct line of fire.
Now, we saw Briggs mount some sort of offense in round number 6. Looks a little deflated here, though, in round 7, no?
Yeah, he does. He came out, he tried to jab up and down a couple times, got hit with a couple big right hands, and went right back to his, orthodox, taking those punches from Klitschko style that we've seen the previous 6 rounds.
Yeah, and you see there on the jab counter, Vitaly throwing almost twice as many, and now a few power punches mixed in. A big right hand there for Vitaly.
Heavy right hand again. Got to pick up that left hand, Shannon. At least don't move so hard to your left into Vitaly's right hand if you're going to have that left hand down low.
Snapping off that jab, and Shannon looks to be about as compromised as he's been in the fight here right now, and looks to be fatiguing as he takes another left hand. Shannon Briggs not in a good way as we hit the 1 minute mark here in round number 7.
Yeah, Klitschko's really having his way with him, and I think he buzzed Shannon pretty good for the first or second time in this fight. Shannon's taken the punches pretty well up into this point. Another big right hand from Klitschko. Klitschko's really starting to mount a serious offensive attack.
Yeah, Shannon Briggs starting to stumble a little bit. You wonder if a couple more shots here landed for Vitaly could get the knockdown. Shannon Briggs huffing and puffing, and doesn't seem to be asthma, just seems to be a whole lot of Klitschko.
Yeah, a lot of Klitschko right hands will make you feel like you had an asthma
Make
attack.
anyone breathe heavy, right? Big right hand again for Vitaly Klitschko, and BJ, got it for you as a fellow pro boxer. I have a huge appreciation for what Vitaly technically is able to do.
Yeah, he looks amazing, and I don't care what people say about Shannon, he's still a very, very talented fighter, and Vitaly has came in here and really dominated and really hasn't been hit with hardly anything, controlled the pace. Another big right hand at the end of the round there. He has really found a home for that punch.
Vitaly Klitschko having his way through 7 rounds.
Huge right hand.
And a big finish to the end of the round. Briggs barely keeps his feet.
Wow.
Got to be discouraging for Shannon Briggs there. A huge finish to round 7 for Vitaly Klitschko.
Huge right hands, and at the beginning of the fight, I said Briggs is taking those punches well, but he can't continue to take them. There will be a point. It's a battle of attrition. There will be a point in the fight where he will not be able to take those punches anymore, and it might be round 8, the round coming up.
Yeah, I think for those people in Las Vegas that maybe played that 8th round knockout, licking their chops at this point as we look at the replays from the 7th.
One of the first right hands that you actually saw land on the chin. A lot of the other right hands was landing higher up on Shannon's face. That one on the chin is the one that really affected his legs and his equilibrium. That is how fighters get knocked out, being hit on the chin.
And he's very fortunate that the round ended there. Just tremendous accuracy from Vitaly.
Beautiful power punching.
Man, just making it look too easy. Target practice there in that 7th round.
He's got to pick up that left hand, John. I don't know how many. I wish I could reach through the TV and tell him, you got to pick up, got to move the other way, but it's not so simple. It's much more difficult than it looks from where we're sitting.
132, all right? Down, up, work the ladder. You have to be first and last, all right?
Alongside BJ Flores, I'm John Anik. We get ready for the 8th round between Vitaly Klitschko and Shannon Briggs, and BJ Briggs fortunate to make it out of the 7th there.
Yeah, he was. Klitschko was landing very, very big, heavy right hands at the end of that round. For the first time in the fight, we saw Shannon actually take effect of those punches. Klitschko landed a couple good ones on the jaw, which is where the fighters actually get knocked out when they were struck. The previous right hands were landed much higher on his face, and, Vitaly's really, really honing in on that right hand.
See the power punches there in that 7th round. 16 of 27 for Klitschko, and Briggs absorbing a whole lot of damage. You hear the crowd here in Germany starting to get behind Vitaly, and perhaps they can sense that a fight finishes around the corner.
Yeah, I don't think this fight's going to go too much longer, John. Klitschko is landing too many right hands. He looks aggressive. He looks assertive now. Shannon cannot find a way to counter that punch from Klitschko, and it's not good. The guy's hands are too heavy.
And you see, conversely, on the other side, nothing behind the Briggs punches at this point in the fight.
Another big right hand. That will look to have some effect on him, too. Landing those very high on the head. Those equilibrium shots sometimes are very disrupting. Mess up a fighter's balance. And he's been taking those for 7 rounds now. Another big right hand.
And again, Klitschko snapping off the right hand there. The mismatch continues. It was a huge mismatch on paper, BJ, and that's the way it's played out. And in the 8th round here, Vitaly can sense the finish. He's got about a minute and a half to do so.
Yeah, he does. He does sense the finish. Now, I'm kind of surprised now in the corner of Briggs, they haven't addressed the fact that he's gotten hit with so many Klitschko right hands.
Yeah.
If I'm in Briggs' corner, I'm going to say, listen, the punch that he's killing you with is the right hand. Let's try to address that. And I haven't heard that in the corner yet from Briggs' team. The right hand lands every single time.
Huge land percentage for Vitaly Klitschko, and the left hand is landing as well. So really pick your poison for Shannon Briggs, and again, he's in trouble. You see him spit out of the mouth there, and another huge right hand for Vitaly.
Klitschko's giving his fans their money worth here. And Briggs is too. I mean, he's really coming in game. He's not able to mount any type of offense, but it takes a lot of courage and a lot of strength to be able to withstand this type of punishment that he's receiving.
And again, you see Briggs very wobbly here. You see the punches this round, and Briggs has only landed one. Conversely, Vitaly really landing 1 out of every 2 punches he throws.
Yeah, this is, you've got about a 50% connect rate. Very, very good for the heavyweight division, for any division. And Briggs' corner might want to start to take a good look at him here and see how much longer they want this beating to last.
Yeah, and you wonder, too, if Briggs has one final flurry in him offensively, or if that's just something that's not in the cards here tonight.
Yeah, he's got a big punch, but he's been worn down to this point in the fight to where I don't think he has the possibility to knock Klitschko out. Klitschko's in complete control, and Briggs' corner really needs to take a good look at him after this 8th round. It's not looking good.
Well, a vintage Vitaly performance through 8 rounds, but does he put a capstone on it with a finish? We'll see as we hit the final 4 rounds of this one.
I think it's nearly supper time. I'm gonna pour myself some wine and sit down to a big plate of pasta tonight.
Introducing Carrabba's signature pasta meals, starting at just $10. Prepared by hand, topped with our signature sauces, created from scratch every day. A complete Italian meal starts at just $10.
I want pasta tonight.
Only at Carrabba's.
Are your credit cards maxed out? Just making minimum payments or even behind on your bills? Call us now. Freedom Debt Relief's mission is to help you get rid of your credit card debt. Reducing America's credit card debt is vital for our economy. Now there's a program to help you. We offer the successful alternative to bankruptcy, credit counseling, or taking on new loans.
I had over $25,000 in credit card debt. Then I called Freedom Debt Relief and got my debt cut in half. I was debt-free in less than 24 months.
I went through a divorce and ended up with $17,000 in credit card debt. Then I called Freedom Debt Relief. They were able to settle all 7 of my credit card bills with one low monthly payment.
This program has saved our clients over $100 million. Don't pay another credit card bill until you've talked to us. This is a unique program that will get you relief and on your way to being debt-free. Make the most important call of your life today.
Call Freedom Debt Relief now at 1-800-435-4177. That's 1-800-435-4177.
Blake, let's get rolling, man. What's the holdup?
What's up, Brooke? Can't keep up?
Seriously? Blake, I promise you we're done. Come on, man.
Fun's over. Come on, Blake. Come on.
Let's go.
October 27th, the NBA season tips off with a stellar doubleheader on ESPN.
I need you to step to your right hand and put the punches together like you did this round. 2s and 3s. Up and down, okay? Up the double jab, right hand down, hook on top. And then go back to your right side. Stay away from the right hand.
Mike Side, BJ Flores, I'm John Anik. We continue with the ESPN Boxing Special. And finally, the message you were looking for from the Shannon Briggs corner to get out of the way of that right hand.
I was looking for that in the 1st or 2nd round. He finally, the corner with some seriousness said, listen, get out of the way of the right hand. And I've been screaming that from my seat ever since the 2nd or 3rd round. So let's see if Shannon can start to implement that strategy.
Well, Klitschko's 2 biggest rounds without question, the 7th and the 8th. And he smells blood in the water. Big right hand there. You just wonder, you know, we've lauded the Briggs chin. How much more can he take?
It's really amazing up to this point. He's been hit with hooks. He's been hit with crosses, heavy punches. And this is the heavyweight with the highest knockout percentage in heavyweight history. Shannon has taken these right hands for 9 rounds. I can't imagine it can last too much longer.
Go to him!
And you see Klitschko doesn't even have to be all that defensive because not a whole lot is coming back from Shannon Briggs at this point in the fight.
He's really taking it all out of Shannon, John. Shannon doesn't have anything left in his legs. He's taking heavy, heavy punches. It's still kind of walking straight in. I look for him to, you know, he's very confused. He might be a little disoriented right now. So just the fact that he's in the fight, he deserves props for that. But it's tough to criticize Shannon and tell Shannon what he should be doing right now because he's taking a lot of punishment.
Yeah, he's certainly going to have a headache tomorrow. You wonder if a small victory for Shannon Briggs would be to actually go the distance with Vitaly Klitschko, which few of his opponents have ever been able to do. But just wonder if he's going to be able to withstand the final 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, I think it would be a huge kind of a moral victory for him and his team. But, you know, to say that he did go the distance with Klitschko when many of Klitschko's opponents have been knocked out. But he's got to stop getting hit with those right hands. Once again, kind of scooting in. And when he does move, he's moving to his left, which is right into Vitaly's right hand. Once again, I don't understand that strategy. I wish he would go the other way. His chances would increase greatly of surviving the fight if he would start to move that way.
Oh, okay, so the referee now getting on the Briggs corner for some foul language. You don't see that every day.
That's that Brownsville style coming into coming into Germany.
But, you know, a lot of boxing fans criticize the depth in the heavyweight division, and rightfully so, but I just hope that doesn't take away from the greatness that we're seeing here in Vitaly and Vladimir Klitschko.
Yeah, these guys are really something special. They've been dominating everybody they've fought for the last, 5-6 years. Very, very special guys, special heavyweights. Fans need to appreciate these guys. Very, very good.
Well, Briggs' conditioning, we thought it would be an issue. It has held up here as we go under 1 minute in round number 9.
Yeah, the conditioning really hasn't been a problem. From the start, he just really never had a game plan to be able to mount any type of offense, and he could never counter Klitschko's right hands. There we see it again right there. He's never found an answer throughout the entire fight to be able to get out of the way of that right hand.
Klitschko continues to mix it up. You know he's jonesing for the finish.
Yeah, he knows there's another big right hand. He wobbles Shannon Briggs there. Let's see if Klitschko goes up for the finish. 20 seconds left in the round.
Briggs very much looks like a defeated man at this point. He's backing up, and another big right hand. Will Klitschko get the finish here at the end of round number 9?
Briggs looks ready to go. Another big right hand. Briggs' corner needs to take a serious look at him after this round and decide if they want to let this fight continue. I think the fight needs to be stopped. Briggs doesn't know where he's at.
All right, two different stories in the corners. You see Vitaly Klitschko doesn't even look like he's been hit whatsoever, and Shannon Briggs huffing and puffing. We look at the replays here from the last round.
Big right hand on the temple. Very damaging punch. Briggs is not in good shape right there.
So you think the corner at this point should call it? I mean, I don't know how much more you have to gain.
I mean, if you look at the punch stats, you look at the punches landed, you look at Shannon's legitimate chances to come back and win this fight, do you save him to fight another day, or is this leave it all out on the line? I think they're taking the latter of the options and leaving it all out on the line.
Stop getting hit with that right hand. You see it coming, don't you? Okay, stop getting hit with that right hand.
Well, one of the most lopsided Las Vegas lines we have ever seen for the WBC heavyweight title fight here, and it's played out that way. Vitaly Klitschko just continues to have his way with Shannon Briggs.
He does. One line where you might have been able to make some money tonight that nobody suspected is that the fight would go over 9 rounds. So, Klitschko has definitely asserted himself, but the fact that Shannon Briggs is even getting into these later rounds. We're in the 10th round here. Another big right hand by Klitschko. Bettor's definitely could have made some money on that stat right there. No one has suspected Briggs to be around this long.
Yeah, and there's a great chance here that Vitaly gets the finish in the 10th. Almost did so in the 7th, 8th, and the 9th rounds, and you just have to think 1 or 2 more right hands and Shannon Briggs, or his corner might just say, enough is enough.
Yeah, his corner didn't have the type of tone in the corner that sounded like they were looking to stop the fight. They're continuing to tell him, hey, Shannon, do this, do that, land this punch, get away from the right hand, but they really need to take a serious look at him. I think Briggs' punches have lost their snap. He is unable to do anything to Klitschko now, and he's really in a bad position right now. He can't get out of the way of the punches. I don't know if he can't see the punches because of the swelling in his eye, or he just, is not listening to the advice of his corner.
Yeah, very disoriented, and he eats another big left hand there. Vitaly just having his way, and Klitschko a man on a mission here. He didn't like the pre-fight banter from Shannon Briggs and making him pay for it here in the 10th.
He really is.
Again, a huge left jab, setting up the big right hand, and Klitschko almost falling over trying to finish this thing.
Briggs is in bad shape right here, John. Very bad shape. Another big right hand. The referee should really step in right now and look at stop this fight.
Yeah, amazing that Briggs is able to keep his feet, and we could be very close to the end here. A huge right hand for Klitschko, and no mas.
Briggs is staggering all around the ring. Another big right hand from Klitschko. I sense the end coming very, very shortly.
Wonder if Shannon Briggs even knows he's still in Germany. Another huge right hand for Vitaly Klitschko.
Another big right hand. He's talking to him here. He's letting people know that he's letting the referee know that he's okay, but he's not showing it with his actions. Another big right hand.
Doesn't look okay to me. Turning his back there. BJ, this thing's about to end.
Very, very. I can't believe the toughness of Shannon Briggs taking these punches. A very tough man. But the referee needs to take a serious look right now and look at what's best for this fighter, and I think stopping the fight is the best option right now. He can't get out of the way of the right hand, John.
Yeah, you wonder what Ian John Lewis is waiting for here as Briggs just continues to take some unnecessary punishment here as we go under a minute to go in round number 10, and there it is once again. The tough night for Shannon Briggs continues, and Vitaly Klitschko showing why he and his brother continue to rule boxing's heavyweight division.
And I think Klitschko could get this knockout. You saw Klitschko go to the right side of to the body of Shannon Briggs. He landed a nice body shot, a good big right hand. If he would start to go to the body a little more, I think he can score that clean, effective knockout that he's looking for. He's going to get it anyway. I just think that it would be very pretty if he would set it up with a body shot or two first. Shannon has to respect his power and get that storybook ending like he's looking for. Big left hook.
Target practice continues here for Vitaly Klitschko. Under 10 seconds to go in round number 10, and somehow, some way, Shannon Briggs keeps his feet, and we will see an 11th round.
Wow, Briggs can barely stand up right now. This fight needs to be stopped.
You might not realize how much of your life is on your computer until it's all gone. It happens all the time. Hard drives crash, computers get lost, stolen, or hit by viruses. That's why I got Carbonite. No matter what happens to my computer, my backup's safe with Carbonite.
For just $55 a year, get unlimited online backup with Carbonite. That's peace of mind for just 15 cents a day. Go to CarboniteTV.com now to try it free for 15 days. No credit card required. Plus, get 2 free months when you decide to buy. Start your free trial at CarboniteTV.com right now.
Are nasty drafts forcing you to crank up the heat? Heating bills are reported to increase dramatically, causing your money to literally fly out the door. With Twin Draft Guard's double-sided insulated design, your utility bills can be reduced by up to 30%. Watch. Air seeps under the door, but Twin Draft Guard creates an airtight seal. It's adjustable, slides under any door or window. Cut the length you need. Cover and slide onto the door for a draft-proof seal. Twin Draft Guard seals any gap on any floor, even carpet. Use on windows for an airtight seal. Block wind and snow. Insulate garages and basements. Seal in air conditioning. Twin Draft Guard is only $19.99. Call now and we'll double the offer. If it doesn't pay for itself the very first month, send it back for a refund. As a free gift, get the over-the-door ceramic hook. Absolutely free. You get it all. Just $19.99.
Call 1-800-811-2946. Order now and you'll get 2 double-sided Twin Draft Guards and the free over-the-door hanger for $19.99. Call 1-800-811-2946 or go to twindraftguard.com.
Welcome, Mr. Castle, and a gorgeous detective.
Not the usual crime fighters.
Drop it!
Not the usual suspects.
He stuffed her body in someone's coffin.
Seriously?
Seriously.
Seriously?
Seriously.
Seriously. The only thing usual about these two is they're usually on each other's case.
Why spend all that time listening to women if you're not going to try and sleep with them? Beckett's here.
ABC's Castle. All new Monday, 10/9 Central after America's #1 show, Dancing with the Stars on ABC.
The ESPN boxing special continues alongside one of the best cruiserweights in the world, BJ Flores. I'm John Anik, and Shannon Briggs is still looking to fight in 11th round here, BJ, but if you were in that corner, that towel probably would have been thrown in. Huh?
Yeah, I would have, and the reason I would have is because Shannon has lost all the snap and all the steam off his punches. He's He's taken and absorbed an incredible amount of punishment over these 11 rounds, and I just don't see how he wins the fight at this point. Klitschko is hitting him with everything, and they're not just soft punches, they're very, very heavy punches.
We didn't think Shannon Briggs would make it out of the 9th or 10th round. Somehow he lives to fight another round here in the 11th, and as you mentioned, maybe for Vitaly, set it up with a body shot and try to get that seminal knockout.
Yeah, I think that would definitely be the way to secure the knockout. I think Vitaly can get it either way with the accumulation of right hands. Shannon cannot get out of the way of the right hand, so it's going to happen either way, I believe, but the body shots would definitely make it a little more easier for Dr. Klitschko. Once again, it's just target practice at this point.
I mentioned Dr. Klitschko. Briggs is going to be someone's patient pretty soon here, and you just hope that, he doesn't suffer too much more head trauma here. It's a little bit of a slower pace, I guess, for Vitaly than we saw in the 9th and 10th rounds here, but the finish seems to be a formality and an eventuality at this point.
Yeah, it's really academic as far as once it goes to the scorecards, who's going to win the fight. The question here is, can Shannon defend himself? And, believe it or not, in the 11th round, he's showing a little more upper body movement. Yep. That with a combination of Vitaly kind of taking the round off a little more. He's exerted himself quite a bit over the last 3 rounds. It actually appears to be a better round for Shannon.
Yeah, perhaps Vitaly saving himself for the 12th and final round, if indeed we get there. And see Vladimir urging him on from the corner. The Klitschkos want to finish here.
They do. These guys are not in the game of going to the scorecards. Vitaly's record proves that, the highest knockout percentage at all the heavyweight fighters ever.
And you wonder for Shannon Briggs, is the small victory of going the distance worth the punishment and potential damage here going forward?
Yeah, if I'm in his corner, it's absolutely not. I'm always going to look out for the best interest of my fighter. And at this point, I think his corner can determine that he doesn't have a chance to win this fight. And I think it's the right thing to do is to stop the fight. But, he's showing a lot of courage here. Big right hand there. He's showing a lot of courage. And maybe his corner believes in that power a little too much.
And perhaps a fatiguing Klitschko a little bit here. You mentioned maybe getting a blow here in the 11th round. Not as active as we saw in the preceding 4 rounds.
Yeah, not as active, but, really still controlling the round, controlling the pace, landing the harder shots. Another big right hand there. Just really hasn't been able to miss that right hand all night. Really found the home for it.
Well, we knew Shannon Briggs would be up against it in this one, and that's exactly the way it's played out. But got to give some credit to the man for hanging in there.
Yeah, absolutely. Shannon Briggs deserves a world of credit. I mean, he has taken and stood up to an unbelievable beating tonight, really giving the fans their money's worth. Regardless if he wasn't able to make the fight that competitive, it still was always interesting because Shannon's physicality and size and his ability to absorb those punches.
Yeah. And perhaps a little bit of a second wind here for Shannon Briggs in the 11th round, but that doesn't mean he's able to mount any sort of offense. 11 rounds are done from Germany. It is all Vitaly Klitschko here for the WBC heavyweight gold.
Going into the last round.
Bucket right here. Come on. Yes, sir. Let's go.
All right, Shannon Briggs really up against it here. Vitaly Klitschko in complete control of this one through 11 rounds. We look back at the replays from round 11.
Yeah, Klitschko once again just continuing to land straight punches, really having his way. Shannon had a better round than he did the previous. There you see Shannon landing a good right hand there.
Yeah.
Still trying to hang in there, still being tough, but he's just taking an unbelievable amount of punishment, and Shannon Briggs deserves props for getting this far in the fight and taking those types of punches and still hanging around. He's giving the people their money's worth.
Unbelievable numbers there as we look at the power punches through round 11, and you see the land percentage for Vitaly Klitschko. 150 of those things have found their home.
And they're not 150 small punches, John. This guy is heavy-handed, the heaviest puncher in all heavyweight history.
Well, you see there a lot of star power in the corner of Vitaly Klitschko. His brother Vladimir there, Jacob Stitch Duran, the cut man, and Vitaly's got 3 minutes here to make his statement. He made a great statement with the totality of this fight, but he wants the finish at this point, and he's got 3 minutes to do so.
Yeah, he does. And let's see how Vitaly comes out in the first part of this 12th round. Let's see if he goes looking for the knockout, which I suspect he will. He finished Albert Sosnowski late in the fight in the 10th round. He always is looking for the knockout. I suspect him to really go guns a-blazing right now.
Of his 40 pro wins, 38 have come by knockout. Shannon Briggs trying to be one of the few that actually takes Dr. Iron Fist the distance. He's going to be on the wrong side of a decision, but can he survive and not get knocked down or knocked out?
Yeah, Briggs has actually never been down in his career, so the likelihood of him actually going down in this 12th round isn't too great, but let's see if he can hold on for another round. I think it's all kind of depends on Vitaly's mentality if he wants to knock him out at this point. He's tried to in the previous rounds, but I think if he decides and puts 30 seconds of good punches together, he probably could finish the job. Mix in that body attack a little more.
Yeah,
good
nice
punches.
body shot there and follows it up with a nice left hand.
Big right hand, big shot, all set up by the jab.
Now starting to see what we saw in the 9th round. Shannon Briggs in trouble and backing up, and Vitaly clearly going for it more now than we saw in the 11th.
And Shannon leaps in with that hook, just not a lot on it. This guy has guts, though. This guy is an incredible, incredible warrior. Big right hand.
A right hand there. Tried to mount an offense. A huge right for Vitaly, and how many more can Shannon Briggs take?
Not many more. He's stumbling around. But he's still talking to Vitaly right there. He's still got the confidence, trying to let Vitaly know that he's not affected by those punches when it's clear that he is.
And for Vitaly, maybe mix in a body shot here and try to get that signature finish.
Yeah, I think if you would go another huge right hand, the referee needs to take a good look at it now. I've been saying that for 3 rounds, but I really mean it this time.
And Briggs is going to get his credit for lasting this long, but at this point, how much more do you want to see the man take?
Oh, stop the fight. Wow.
Ian John Lewis from England on top of the action there is the 3rd man in the ring, but showing no inclination that he wants to get in between these guys. And another big right hand finds its mark for Vitaly Klitschko. Ditto. You could keep saying it. Rack it up.
Wow. 40 seconds left in the fight. Let's see if Klitschko's going to go in for the finish here. Nothing on Briggs' punch. Good right hand up top from Shannon.
Now Shannon Briggs, we're being told, actually has been down at some point in his career, but not a whole lot, and tremendous, BJ, that he's able to keep his feet despite the onslaught.
If there's ever been a point where he should have been knocked down, I would say it is in this fight, and he really brought his A-game tonight as far as toughness is concerned. Very tough. 10 seconds left in the fight. Looks like he's going to make it to the final bell. Great performance from Klitschko. Courageous performance from Shannon Briggs.
A great showcase for Vitaly Klitschko and a show of mutual respect there. Perhaps Klitschko a little bit disappointed that he couldn't get the finish, but he retains the WBC heavyweight title, and I feel confident in saying that before we look at the scorecards.
I think it's going to be a bit of a shutout, but Shannon Briggs must be given credit for the amount of punishment that he took. He came in, he tried. He was just beaten by a better, bigger, stronger man tonight.
Tim Richmond, To the Limit, Tuesday at 8, part of ESPN Films 30 for 30.
Amazing can happen any night, so you better watch.
NBA League Pass delivers the most NBA with more ways to follow your favorites.
Watch your favorite teams, your favorite players, wherever you are.
Sign up now for the best deal of the season.
If you love basketball, you need NBA League Pass.
For a limited time, get the early bird offer on NBA League Pass on DirecTV. Call 1-800-GET-SPORTS or go to directv.com/NBA.
New York, great city, and you must respect, especially the football giants. But now, with NFL Sunday Ticket, people can watch Cowboys game on phone in New York.
Touchdown! What do you think of that, partner?
We're here.
This is Central Park.
Watch entire games live on your cell phone. Upgrade to NFL Sunday Ticket to go.
To 107. Anik Hong Kong Kong scores at 120 to 105. All three scores go to the winner by unanimous decision. and still WBC heavyweight champion of the world from Kiev and Hamburg, Dr. Iron Fist Vitaly Klitschko.
So Klitschko doesn't get the knockout, but he certainly gets the W, his 5th consecutive WBC world title defense. And I guess the only people who had an easier night than Vitaly, the 3 judges. Just total domination for Vitaly Klitschko. So a great display of sportsmanship there from Shannon Briggs. BJ, we look at the final punch stats, and they really do tell the story. A vintage performance from one Vitaly Klitschko.
Yeah, he really did. He landed 171 power punches. Actually landed a lot of jabs, too, to set up those punches. Total domination from Klitschko. Look for him to fight Thomas Adamek at the beginning of next year. And, you know, it'll be an exciting fight. But this guy is dominated. Very exciting fighter. And who's going to stop him?
Yeah, it remains to be seen. Also remains to be seen if we do see Vitaly Klitschko on United States soil sometime in 2011. Shannon Briggs expects to fight again. The volume, of course, in terms of the numbers, really tapered off down the stretch of the fight. So it is in the books. Vitaly Klitschko defends successfully for a 5th consecutive time his WBC World Heavyweight title, early and often punishing Shannon Briggs with the right hand, the left hand. Anything he dialed up, it was able to hit its mark. We remind you, we've got another ESPN boxing special for you November 8th on ESPN2 as we kick off Veterans Week with a salute to the veterans. With that, for BJ Flores and our entire crew, I'm John Anik. Thanks for checking in for the ESPN boxing special. Until next time, don't text and drive. We'll see you.